Afghanistan is the topic of conversation really for everybody right now. We have a conversation that's been needing to happen. Now everybody's talking about it. But because there were actually more efforts to, in some capacity, get the fuck out of Afghanistan, you saw what happened. We had Taliban, didn't waste any time, and basically everything that you were told was supposed to happen didn't happen. Now, this could be for a number of different reasons that all are part of the equation. Ron Paul tried to ruin y'all. This was a failed effort from the get-go, considering what they were attempting to or claiming to accomplish in Afghanistan. It was a losing effort from the get-go. And this whole idea of nation building and liberation and paying people to fight for themselves. I understand what you think how you think that works out in theory, but what you're seeing is some things are inevitable. And two things can be true, by the way, before I go into what I'm about to say. It can be crappy situations for people in certain parts of that region. I don't disagree with that at all. And you never hear me say otherwise, of course. And maybe coming from this will be some problems for them. And it will make a lot of people's lives, unfortunately, considering the turmoil in that region, which a lot of it has come by way of the United States foreign policy. But also it could have been a losing effort. And also it could have been none of your damn business as far as them stealing from you trillions of dollars to pump into these failed efforts and these failed perpetual wars that seem to go on for decades upon decades. But what I think some people are missing out of this and why this is so bad, because look, everybody's going to have their theories on who's to blame, right? From the Bushes to the Obamas to the Trumps to the Bidens, all of them have a hand in it. I would argue that definitely with this president, considering that he spent 8 years as VP under Obama, he had a lot in amplifying some of these situations as well. None of them are rid of whatever blame at all. I'm just saying. But this was more of an inevitable thing. So I hate that there's so many people that are trying to take the angle of what Joe Biden himself, and that was it, was just screwed up. Not necessarily in the idea that they were trying to get people out of Afghanistan and saying that X amount of people were going to be able to fight for themselves. That's where they fucked up. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing. So if you have something to grill Joe Biden on, lying. Grill him on lying. Because anybody that you didn't have to have all the intel. You didn't have to sit in those round table discussions in the war room to try to understand what was going on out there. We're going to watch a video just real quick about Joe Biden. This wasn't even that long ago. This was like 2 days ago. No, not 2 days ago. Like last month, excuse me. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been earlier this month. Of him talking about specifically what was going to happen with what was going on with the Taliban, and there's going to be some sort of takeover. Let's listen in on this old fumbling idiot.
Is a Taliban takeover?
This is also, I got the date, July the 21st. So yes, last month.
Of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well equipped as any army in the world, and an air force against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable.
Okay, let's start there. That's egg literally on this man's face. It absolutely was inevitable. And that's why I'm saying if there's anything to grill, not just Biden on, but a lot of these fucking war hawks on who tried to, what they're trying to do is justify their existence in that nation. That's what it was. Trying to justify their existence in that nation for a long period of time. Definitely as more and more people became critical of the United States' involvement in Afghanistan. Right? So Biden, he's expressing what not just him, a lot of other people had assumed albeit wrongfully. And that is that they could go in there, equip, tell them the right way, not only to run their government, but to defend themselves. And that was going to be good enough to stop what was, again, going to be the inevitable. And it wasn't. A lot of those guns, definitely, that the United States taxpayers paid for to have go out there, are in the hands of the Taliban right now. So congratulations on that. You just funded a bunch of Taliban weaponry. But that's not anything new. I mean, we've seen that done. Fast Furious, seen that done in Mexico. We've seen that done. Hell, you've seen that done with Libya and Syria, and funding both sides of the wars that are going on out there. And it seems like United States weaponry ends up in the hands of the bad guys a lot. That seems to happen a lot. Let's just see what else he had to say, though, real quick.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Your own intelligence community has assessed that the Afghan government will likely collapse.
That is not true.
This was last month. Oh, man, this was last month.
Can you please clarify what they have told you about whether that will happen or not?
That is not true. They did not reach that conclusion.
So what is the level of confidence that they have that it will not collapse?
The Afghan government and leadership has to come together. They clearly have the capacity to sustain the government.
And again, this isn't a complex thing. I know there's some people, everybody wants to try to make things complicated when they end up on the wrong side. It's not that complicated. These guys were basically instilled and propped up by way of the alphabet agencies of the federal government. And they're doing exactly what they were always going to do, and that was fucking fold.
In place.
And do you see any parallels between this withdrawal and what happened in Vietnam, with some people feeling...
None whatsoever.
You lost. It is absolutely like Vietnam in that case. See, this is an example. I'm actually gonna let me let him finish real quick, and I have some things that I'm gonna say on this.
Zero. What you had entire brigades breaking through the gates of our embassy. 6, if I'm not mistaken. The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of a embassy of the United States.
Yeah, you did.
From Afghanistan.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
It is not at all comparable.
Yeah, you did.
So the question now is, where do they go from here? That the jury is still out. But the likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Well, he was wrong, obviously, and he was not just wrong; he was very wrong, completely incorrect. But it is, in this case, like Vietnam. See, this idea is a lesson for everybody out there, not just with perpetual war and nation-building efforts being failed efforts, and quite often it creates even more turmoil than what would. Look, trying to play world police is a failed effort. I get it. And that's the angle that most people are going to take. And I get it. Some of y'all's family members being sent off to go die in these wars. Sometimes it feels like nothing. I want to take a different angle. Yeah, he's a liar. And I think that's what you need to focus on. There's also something else I want to add to that. And it's this. In the comparison of Vietnam, this is what I want to put on your mind. The people that say, like the anti-gun nuts, who sit there and say, well, you own an AR-15 or you own some other weaponry, which they want, of course, banned. And then you say that something like, well, these guns is not necessarily just if I want to hunt deer. Yeah, that's maybe what I can use it for. But that's not all of what we're trying to do here. You're not incorrect in saying that. And this is yet another example, much like Vietnam, in that just because you have the superior technology does not mean that you're guaranteed to win a physical confrontation or a conflict, especially when your actual motive or your goal was always going to be very hard, if not impossible, to accomplish in the first fucking place. So you lost the rice farmers, and now you lost the goat herders, people with outdated equipment. Now they got your shit, as well as in sandals and shit. So I'm not trying to hear all of this moronic nonsense that, government got drones. They got drones, your little AR-15, because you might as well ban it because you couldn't do anything in the case the government wanted to attack. Had you been paying attention to what's been going on in the Middle East as well as Vietnam? So just so we're keeping record, they've lost to rice fucking farmers, and now they've essentially lost to people in sandals and outdated equipment that now have control of your fucking equipment. Congratulations, motherfucker. Congratulations. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.